Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to this week's roundup. Now, I've got 6 stories for you today, starting with tyres. And Max Verstappen has said that he is not convinced by the explanation offered by Pirelli for his tyre failure in Baku, whereas Lewis Hamilton has suggested that the manufacturer is not to blame. Following investigations, Pirelli revealed there was no production or quality defect of the tyres and the failures were not due to wear, instead explaining that they could have been as a result of debris but also could potentially be related to the running conditions of the tyre, despite the prescribed starting parameters being followed. In the driver's press conference, Verstappen was asked if he was satisfied with Pirelli's conclusion, to which he answered, "Personally, not, because for me it was just a bit vague. The only thing I can say is from our side, the team did everything like they should have done. They followed all the guidelines with tyre pressures and stuff, so there was nothing to be found there. It would be nice to just know if it was tyre pressure related. Just speak out. I think that would be easier to understand than the explanation we got so far, because the team didn't do anything wrong. They cannot put the blame on us, and I think they have to look at themselves." However, Hamilton said in the same press conference that the rules and guidelines around the tyres are clear, but he is happy that Pirelli has acknowledged the need to clarify the guidance a little bit further. He added, though, that things like tyre pressures and temperatures need to be policed better going forward, and ended by saying, "Wherever there is a failure, they always put the pressures up, so that tells you something. More often than not, the tyres are not running at the pressures that are being asked. We didn't have a problem with our tyres. I think they've done a great job with the tyres this year. They're more robust than ever. And in this particular instance, I don't think Pirelli are at fault." The general consensus from teams and drivers, though, seems to be that there has been a lack of clarity and they need more transparency about it all from Pirelli, as this is a serious safety issue. Pirelli, though, has expanded on the tyre blowout since releasing its findings, with Mario Isola admitting that the running conditions once out on track were not in line with the manufacturer's calculations, however did once again stress that no regulations were breached by the teams. He added to that by saying that from next season there will be a new sensor as part of the 18-inch tyres, which will allow them to police in-race tyre pressures more consistently, and that sensor, by the way, will be controlled by the FIA, whereas now it's all the teams using their own sensors. Next up, Esteban Ocon is now fully focused on his performances after signing a new long-term contract with Alpine, a deal that he's described as a weight off his shoulders. Earlier this week, it was confirmed that the Frenchman has signed a 3-year deal that will see him stay with the team until at least 2024, and confirms the Alpine lineup for next season at the same time as Fernando Alonso had already been signed up, of course. When asked about the deal ahead of this weekend's French Grand Prix, though, Ocon said, "It feels good. It is a weight off the shoulders, I would say, so I can only focus on the performance and what matters now as the rest is secured. I felt good with the team, well integrated, the atmosphere is fantastic, and we are working nicely. Obviously, we have a great chance of doing good things next year with the new regulations, so it's a perfect place for me to be staying. It is the longest deal I've ever had in my whole career, so coming from where I was a couple of years ago, it is an awesome position to be in." One question that has popped up since the announcement, though, is what about his Mercedes ties? As I'm sure most of you know, Ocon has been supported by the manufacturer since 2015 and was even the team's reserve driver back in 2019 whilst he sat out that season, and his recent form has led to some even speculating that he could be back in the frame for a drive with the Silver Arrows. However, whilst he did confirm that there are still connections with Mercedes, he is a, quote, full Alpine driver for the next 3 years and will not be interacting with Mercedes. I think this is a good call from Alpine, and to be fair, it's not all that surprising. Maybe the fact it's a full 3 years is, but not the fact they've kept him on. He has had a good start to 2021. You look at other options like Gasly, for example, they're apparently under contract elsewhere, and having a consistent lineup could be of benefit ahead of next year's rule changes. And very much the same as with the McLaren lineup, getting all this done and announced now means the team and both drivers have some certainty, and so full focus can start to shift towards next season. That is briefly what I think, but what do you guys think? You can, as always, let me know your thoughts on Ocon's new deal in the comment section down below. Moving on, Valtteri Bottas has dismissed reports that he is set to be replaced by George Russell for 2021, insisting the rumours are not based on any facts. As covered on the channel earlier this week, the gossip columns have alleged that Russell has been told he will be racing for Mercedes next season, and that Bottas has also been told by the team that he will not be getting a contract renewal. That would obviously see Bottas without a driver and looking for one elsewhere, with some reports even going far as to claim that the Finn could return to Williams in a swap with the Brit. However, Bottas has insisted there is no truth to the rumours and that he has not been informed of any potential decision. With Toto, we speak often, that's normal for us, and we've spoken also lately, that's normal. I can't confirm that, at least nobody told me about that, so yeah, that's not true, that is speculation. I'm sure there's all kinds of speculation that is not based on any facts. Obviously, you can't always block the noise that is around, and it's every season is the same thing. Same questions and same speculation, that is part of the sport. So I think it's a bit too early for me yet to answer that in detail. The Finn went on to add that there haven't yet been any real discussions about a new deal and expects that they will start soon. For now, though, he is focused on the next 3 races. Meanwhile, Russell has also had his say, insisting that he has not signed any contract for 2022, but did add he hopes his future is sorted one way or another by the summer break. Elsewhere this week, Mick Schumacher has suggested that he needs to start rebuilding trust in Nikita Mazepin following their last lap scrap in Baku. As the two approached the end of the race in Azerbaijan, Schumacher went for a move to the inside to try and outdrag his teammate to the line, but Mazepin made a small late move to the right, moving towards the German's line before quickly switching back to the left. Schumacher was angry with that move, but has stated post-race that it was a misunderstanding and Mazepin apologised for it. Ahead of the French Grand Prix though, Schumacher said that whilst he understood they were racing and fighting, he wasn't expecting it, and that is why he reacted as he did after the race. And when asked if he trusts his teammate, he added, quote, "I think you have to race with him, so in that sense. And I think that trust is built and for sure can be built again." Meanwhile, Mazepin has downplayed the incident, saying that he prefers to look at it in a positive way as both cars were undamaged in the incident and were able to return to the pits under their own steam, but reiterated that it was just a misunderstanding. Mercedes has made changes to ensure that there isn't a repeat of Lewis Hamilton's brake magic problems in Baku. As I'm sure you'll remember, the Brit who looked set to take the lead at the restart in Azerbaijan locked up and went straight on in turn 1 and dropped through the field. It was later revealed that he had accidentally caught a switch on his steering wheel which shifted the brake balance dramatically forward. And whilst the switch is still there, Hamilton said that it now has a shroud around it to prevent it from being hit again, although he did add that was only a short-term fix and the team will look for something more permanent in the future. And finally, Romain Grosjean's test with Mercedes has been postponed, but it is set to be rescheduled at some point. Grosjean was set to demonstrate an older Mercedes at this weekend's French Grand Prix and would then take part in a full day's testing on June 29th. And despite the rescheduled race weekend clashing with the Frenchman's IndyCar commitments, his run was still set to go ahead. However, as a result of travel restrictions and quarantine requirements, it can now no longer take place. That's the bad news for Grosjean fans, but whilst it would have been really good to see him out on track in France, Mercedes is still committed to making sure he gets in that car eventually and is, quote, working to reschedule the test later this summer. That is it for this week's roundup then, but you can, as always, let me know your thoughts on any of the stories featured today in the comment section down below. Now, I will be back live on Sunday with some French Grand Prix race reaction, but in the meantime, if you did enjoy this video, then please do leave a like as it really does help give the channel a little boost, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future uploads. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.